Like its natural namesake, the Tornado is fast and furious. Dubbed the Formula One of sailing, it's also the only catamaran with Olympic status. 62 yachts from 14 nations competed in today's first heat in steady 18-knot winds. While everyone wants to be world champion, most eyes are on Barcelona and Olympic gold, especially the strong Australian contingent.
The other classes are close to the medals, but certainly the Tornado's favoured at the moment.
Of course, the Aussies aren't going to get everything their own way this week or at Barcelona. Perhaps their biggest obstacle is reigning world champion Giorgio Zaccoli from Italy.
I think that in every races you have to be fast and also a little bit lucky. Now we are fast, but about the lucky we don't know.
Zaccoli's luck wasn't too bad today. He finished third behind flying Frenchman Chris Clevenot. Booth was the best of the Aussies in fourth place. Neil Poe, 7 Nightly News.
A good warm-up for the Olympics. All the top nations are represented here, and in fact the top 5 countries which placed in the pre-Olympics July this year are all competing, so certainly a good indication of what's ahead.
And I gather from reading that this is an important part of the Australian selection trials or whatever, a selection process?
Yes, that's correct. There's 3 regattas which make up the selection trials, and we've just finished for the Australian Championship, this championship, and another selection championship which is only for Australians to compete later in March. There's
Are you, like, even though you're the world champion from a couple of years ago, are you, like, do you still, are you still fighting in there for place in the team?
Yes, certainly. It's very much wide open. The Australians are ranked amongst the best in the world, and as indicated in last week's Australian Championship, where there were a lot of foreigners competing, yet the Australians featured in most of the races. We'd say there's at least 8 who are worthy representatives of Australia in this year's Olympics.
A lot of people saying that, or certainly in what you read, is that the Tornadoes is Australia's best chance of a medal at Barcelona. Would you agree with that?
Well, in the last 2 years, we've all the Olympic yachting classes have competed in Barcelona in 2 Olympic practice regattas, which is traditional with any Olympics. And the Tornado class, we've won the gold and the silver medal in the last 2 years. The only other class which is featured is the Solings, which got a bronze medal in last year's pre-Olympics. And the other classes are close to the medals, but certainly the Tornado's favoured at the moment.
Has there ever been a medal won for Australian Tornadoes?
Yes, in '84 Olympics, Chris Cairns and Scott Anderson won the bronze medal in Los Angeles, which is actually the last Olympic medal in yachting for Australia. There was no medals won in '88, and in fact it's been a long time since there's a gold medal in Australian yachting, so it's really a challenge for us. But first of all, we've got to tackle the challenge of being selected, obviously.
So, how do you feel about your chances here this week? How'd you go in the Australian titles?
The Australian Championship, we're very happy with our performance. We won with a comfortable margin. But again, a World Championship, there's a lot more competitors, a lot more people on the course which you have to contend with at the start line. But on last week's indications, we're quite happy with the way we're going.
Okay, tell us about, again, people write about Tornadoes as sort of the Formula Ones of racing, of yachting. What does it have that other yachts perhaps don't have? What makes the class so exciting?
Well, the Tornado is really a relatively new design in yacht design. It's only 20 years old, and I think the high level of competition keeps it right on the edge of performance. And really the basics of the design, the fundamentals of the design, allow the Tornado to go extremely fast. They're very wide. They've got a lot of power in the rig, and they can reach speeds of up to 30 knots, so they're quite exciting.
So what's it feel like out there at top speed?
Well, top speed is quite exciting, and makes it even more exciting when there's 50-odd boats on the same leg doing the same sort of speed. It's quite good.
I imagine it gets quite hectic then at the turning points of the boards.
Yes, actually, at the end of the first reach, which is really the quickest leg on the course, and the boats are still relatively close. It's quite congested, and turning the first reaching wing mark, it's quite entertaining.
Okay, just finally, sailing at home, I mean, does that give you or the other Australian sailors much of an advantage, do you think?
I don't think so, other than we haven't had to contend with jet lag and travelling hassles, but all the international competitors here are all very professional at their sport, and I'm sure they'll contend with competing internationally without a problem.
Okay, 2 shots.
Yeah, they actually set up with a log and put for the triangle. which we use our compass to find the bearings.
Right.
It's pretty straightforward
Yeah.
after.
Is it a small, relatively small course, or do you have to go, you know?
No, it's only the longest leg is about
There.
just
Where
there.
you were, yep,
Yeah.
looking at me. So it's quite a big setup we've got there. Is it? Is that a sort of nice been a good success in '89? or?
Well, certainly we've been able to get some support from GIO over the last few years, which has been a great assistance to us.
Okay. Well, Giorgio, welcome to Australia. How does it feel to be the defending world champion?
We come after 3 months of the last World in Sardinia with other conditions, and we practice in a strong wind also in Europe before we came here with another boat.
Start again from the top.
1, 2, 3.
Yep, right. Okay.
Going. Sorry, I'll start again, Giorgio. How does it feel to be the defending world champion?
We come from after 3 months of the last World in Sardinia in September, and we prepare this World that will be, I hope, strong wind, like everybody said me before I came here, with a new sail and new material that have to be good in strong wind. And I hope to have the same speed like our friend from Australia, Mitch Boat and Ford, because we train together a lot of time before this World, also here in Australia with not our boat, but anyway with his boat, and we had a good speed. Also them, but we can fighting a lot.
Do you see this as a good preparation for the Olympics? Is that your?
Well, we try to train in Barcelona a lot of time in November and in December, but will be not the same condition because summertime in Mediterranean is warm, and so is a thermal wind. And in the winter time you can have strong or light wind, but not the same direction, not the same condition. But anyway, we like Barcelona because we live in Italy or Mediterranean, and we have the same condition from the same light wind like we can find in Barcelona. I hope to have a right condition to sail a good Olympic Games, because you know that the Olympic Games, everything changed. Like in Korea, that we think to have a light wind and then we have a stormy, and so you never know.
Yeah. Who do you see as your main opposition here?
Sorry?
Who do you see as your main opposition at
Well,
these titles?
Mitch is very fast, and I think that is at the moment the best Australian. Then there is the Germans that are very strong too, especially Schwal that was third at the world, and Europa Masterchef, Gebler that is Europa champion. And then Agara in light wind is very good, but only in light wind, so I think that here will be not in the top 2 or 3. Then the French people, they are coming from a very bad period, but they are 3 or 4 very good. Then the other, I don't know, because many people here in Australia, they charter the boat, so they have not his best material. And so they cannot fight for the top, maybe for the boat, because they get an old boat or something like that. Also, we have not our best boat here, because we leave it in Italy to reserve for the Olympic Games. Will be much more important than here, because here, you know, world, every year you can sail a world champion. The Olympic Games you can sail each 4 years, and there's only one for a country. And so I'm the second at the second Olympic Games, but you cannot sail a lot.
Sure. So how do you fancy your chances of retaining the world title here?
Well, I think that in every races you have to be fast and also a little bit lucky. Now we are fast, but about the lucky we don't know. We only wait, and I think that we can have a good chance here because it's strong wind and we are quite heavy. And we like the wind. Then I don't know.
Okay, great.
Just stay there with a couple.
Okay, Brian, now, according to my reading this morning, you've come second in the World Championships twice.
Yes, I have. A few years ago, though, Neil.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is this, I mean, how do you rate your chances here? Do you think you can, with perhaps a bit of home ground advantage, go that one better?
Well, I think these guys are smart enough to pick up the changes in direction here. So I don't think there's a big home ground advantage. But the big advantage these guys have got is they've been campaigning overseas every year and competing in big races like this all the year round. I haven't been away for 5 years, so you get a bit rusty, but we've got a bit better as the nationals went on. We're getting faster and faster, so maybe we're a big outsider, 100 to 1.
Have you been instrumental in putting all this together or getting it to Perth?
Well, I've been one of the organisers, but just one of them. Has been a really good crew of people that have worked very hard, and I'm just the figurehead, as it were. They've done all the work.
What have you got, 50 or 60 boats?
62 boats for the Worlds.
62. Yeah. So I imagine there's going to be some fairly spectacular racing out there.
It certainly will.
A lot of people, I guess, Tornado's not that a high-profile yacht class. So what will people see out there if they were to get?
Well, yeah, I don't know whether I agree with you on the high profile.
Well,
it's not the America's Cup publicity, of course, but this is one of the Olympic classes and one of the strongest Olympic classes in the world.
What's the feature of racing? I mean, what would be the highlights of this week, do you think?
Well, we've got 14 different countries here, and the top 2, 3 or 4 from each of those countries, so it's going to be hot.
And the Tornado has been described in this literature as the Formula One of yachting, is that right? Like
That's
fairly
right.
Speedy?
Very fast, yeah, in excess of 20 knots on the reaches.
And what happens when the 62 boats get to the first buoy?
Yeah, it's tight.
And Australia's, in the Olympics, which of course are only, 5 months away, is the Tornado perhaps Australia's best chance at a medal?
I would say that. It has been in the past, for the past 15 years, and I think still is.
So this is a great preview for people who can't get to Barcelona like most of us.
Yep, that's right.
Would this be a virtual sort of preview of most of the people who are going to be in Barcelona here?
They are indeed. We've got the previous gold medal winner from France. That is the previous gold medal winner from Korea, a Frenchman. We've got Mitch Booth, who's world champion 2 years ago. We've got Brad Shafurius, who was the Australian Olympic rep in Korea, and a lot of other Olympic reps from all the other countries. Okay, so this is it. This is hot. Yeah.
Just finally, how do you rate Australia's chances, and what are Australia's stocks in Tornadoes?
I think I'm sure Australians will at least finish in the top 3, and a very good chance of maybe getting 2 of the first 3 places.
Okay, well, I've got just
Peter Blackson, doctor friend of mine, who's been measuring. Asked me on the phone, she asked me some medical questions for me the other day. I'm sure he's here. That's my understanding.
And a race for what, what actual distance do you go?
About 2 hours. It's 18 nautical miles. So it's triangle up and back.
Right. And finish line, I believe will start over there. Do you finish there as well?
No, finish will be up in the shipping channel there.
I hope so. Yeah, ours is the best. I think it took me 2 chopper accidents in 2 days. So these guys will just going. Looks like going to start.
Yep.
These guys here, the Germans, they're just baseball.
Es colorido, macho. Ya era bonito, pero... ¿Qué?
start sunbaking.
We've been missing all the action.
Yeah, I know.
I was told that yesterday afternoon that all the girls take all of their gear off.
So as a spectator on the boat, please come to the caravan so we can count the head.
What we do at this stage?
Oh, well, we're hooking on it.
Good luck. Good luck, man.
I'm surprised you can put a trim on it.
What
while they're shooting now,
Start two. Yeah.
Just wanted to sort of see how he was singing. Oh, right, see it. Put it away,